We are going straight to Davos, where the world's second most important people in the world are meeting, the politicians. In the shadow, behind the politicians, the corporate overlords are also scheming and rubbing their hands. Let us see all the drama coming to us from this peaceful little Swiss village. The first topic of the day will be Trump's speech that went crazy, made everybody go fucking cuckoo, that finished literally 1 hour ago. Let's go through some of its segments, starting out with his perspective on Greenland and take it from there. As always, thank you everyone for helping me by the camera. If you want to support the show, allow it to grow, please do consider subscribing. It is the beginning of the new week. All the tax payments have been reset back to zero, and it is time for you, Developing World Chatter, Developed World Chatter, Developed World Minority Chatter, to appropriately pay your taxes and make this particular number go up. Today you will see an insane drop in subs, by the way. So if we want to keep this nice and above 3,000, we definitely should gamba. And you are basically competing against time when it comes to hitting the goal, because the subscription numbers are going to be dropping like crazy, because last month on the 21st, we were gambling like crazy as well. So now you are fighting with last month's gamblers, and you got to prove that you're far more degenerate than they ever were. That's the main pitch. My English is hopefully going to improve slightly. What's up, little bear? You have to watch the whole Trump speech. It was actually so fucking insanely funny. I was losing my mind. That's my plan. Let's get into it. Let's dissect it. Let's see if I'm going to lose money. Because I definitely didn't bet on him invading Greenland. Okay, let's go. Welcome in, everyone.
And to address so many respected business leaders, so many friends.
And I have a shitty mic, huh? I have a shitty mic. I have a shitty mic that breaks down.
Few enemies.
Listen to this. This isn't my microphone.
And all of the distinguished guests. It's a who's who, I will say that. I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with truly phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of my...
Actually, before we watch this, the speech, I really want to jump quickly through what I consider to be insane news. Seriously, no voice, no sound. Seriously, no sound.
We have to fix prosperity in democracies.
Okay, Trump leaked texts. Trump leaked the presidential Discord server.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to have tariffs and be divided, and even to threaten now with additional tariffs. We can use the crazy things is that we can be put in the situation to use the anti-coercion mechanism for the very first time vis-à-vis the US if they put additional tariffs. Can you imagine that? This is crazy.
World leaders assembling right now in Davos, Switzerland for the annual World Economic Forum. President Trump arrives there tomorrow, facing European allies deeply perplexed and very worried by his escalating threats to take over Greenland. This morning on social media, he posted this AI-generated image of him planting the U.S. flag in Greenland with a sign declaring it a U.S. territory established this year. Overnight, the president added his own baffling twist by leaking this private message from the French president, Emmanuel Macron. And I'm quoting now.
Okay, so the leak is insane, but what we can see in the leak is even crazier. From President Macron to President Trump. My friend, we are totally in line on Syria. Hey, my friend, the way we're cutting up the planet is completely based when we do it in Syria. It's going to be completely based when we do it in Iran.
My friend, we are totally in line.
I do not understand what you're doing on Greenland. Fuck the French. Fuck the French. Fuck the French. And say it one more time with me. Fuck the French. Imperial American lapdogs that love frying U.S. smegma on their premium stainless steel pans every morning before they put it on that crusty ass, overrated baguette and proceed to lube each other up. Time for the imperial boomerang to come back home. And before it comes back to Washington, it will come back to London. It will come back to Paris. It will come back to Berlin. It will come back to Rome. And we will not feel bad for you. Not only because you have participated in the imperial plunder of the global south for half a fucking century in this post-World War II section setup, and for centuries upon centuries in the previous classic colonial setup, we will not only not forget what you have done because of all of that, but we will also point and laugh at your immense cuckoldry when it comes to your relationship to your previous overlord, dispersing with you as if you were used panties after a period. Okay? Not only have you rejected learning anything, you are fully dedicating yourself to someone who is treating you with minus 500 respect. It is pathetic. You have no sovereignty and you do not deserve it. So enjoy the shit you've cooked for yourself for decades upon decades upon decades. And continue doing what you do best. Lying to yourself that you are a factor as you work for your American overlords. Pathetic, slimy, weak cuckolds. Eurocucks.
On Syria, we can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland, end quote. And just a short time ago at the forum, Macron criticized President Trump's...
Thank you very much, Pixerino, for the 18 months. Thank you very much for that subscription. Make Numba go up, subscribe.
Policies, listen.
Without collective governance, cooperation gives way to relentless competition. Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements that undermine our export interests, demand maximum...
You do not share the same interests as the United States of America anymore. Europe shared common interests with the United States because the booty of imperialism was big enough, pun intended, for many to share. It is no longer big enough. The United States has a main competitor in the People's Republic of China, and the world has developed past the need to be hyper-consumed through very cheap resource exports with no expertise in actually processing said resources. The world no longer wants to be a cheap outsourcing destination of the United States of America. And the military of multiple large regional players has said no to following through on American long-term foreign policy. Therefore, America can no longer pay their little goons, yes, I said goons, their little European goons. It can no longer pay them as much as it has paid them in the past. And the Europeans need to recognize that this sinking ship will cannibalize its own children before it admits to its own sinking. You are the children. You must escape the home and create something independent, something neutral, something that has nothing to do with either the East or the West. A truly independent European project.
Wonderful, a new child soldier.
And the longer you stay as little small ships next to the big sinking one, the less time you will have to get the fuck out before the current made by this massive monstrosity going under pulls you all in with it. It is as simple as that. The old world order is over. Massive respect to the Canadians for having the audacity to say so. It's time you admit it to yourselves as well. Because history will not forget you. The European electorate will not forget you. No one will. Thank you, Rigons, for the 4 months. Thank you very much.
My inauguration, and today, after 12 months back.
Okay, I don't want to. This is.
It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business leaders, so many friends, few enemies, and all of the distinguished guests. It's a who's who, I will say that. I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with truly phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today, after 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable, and the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic.
Does it count for the Eastern Eurocucks as well? Of course it does. Eastern Eurocucks are cucked to Western Eurocucks that are cucked to Americucks. Okay? It's a cuckoldry snake eating its own ass type of experience, my friends. The only way to break it is for somebody to proverbially unlink from this eternal American gangbang that we've committed ourselves onto.
Turnaround in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth, and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite. Virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just...
Meanwhile, the People's Republic of China is quiet. Look at this. Is quiet. Is doing its shit. It's planning. It's sending fucking satellites into space that catch sun energy beams and then throw them back. They're irrigating motherfucking deserts. They're dedicating themselves to do nothing win policy.
Wonderful.
And on the other side of the world, the decaying empire has a clown man from reality TV coming on to the World Economic Forum and starting his conversation about the state of the world with lies about the state of his own economy. It is cheap writing. By God, I hope he forgives me. It is exceptionally cheap writing. It is cliche. I feel like if everything is predestined and if the Lord truly exists, he is exceptionally bored. Because all of this is so absurdly transparent.
1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year.
Is there anyone at Davos that doesn't see directly through this as lies? No, my friend. Most people there have to cope with believing in these lies because they do not see any potential alternative. They are either too racist to look at the East, they are too politically illiterate to concentrate on their own sovereignty and potential neutrality against both the East and the West, or what is the biggest case of most political analysts, think tankers, even journalists, and political figures from the European Union that are currently in Davos, they are bought off by the Americans. They're just bought. That's it. We call it APAC, not APAC, but just APAC. The way Israel lobbies in the United States of America, take that, now make it times 500. And that is the American lobby in the European Union. And then on top of that, understand that military logistics, corporate interest, trade routes, everything has been so carefully drawn by the Americans when it comes to, Europe's military output and economic output, that it does sometimes seem borderline impossible when it comes to considering decoupling from the American, not big brother, but the American micro colonizer.
Year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years...
I love how we lift people out of poverty by making poverty illegal.
In which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, $1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment.
We are hitting, speaking of investment, we are hitting minute 30. Remember to subscribe for the show, support the show, 100% ad-free, 100% sponsor-free, and fully funded by taxes. So oil me up, pay your taxes. Westerners in chat, you know what time it is before your entire economies crumble. You must spend that big dollar. I can do much more with it than it just sitting in your bank account, slowly moving to zero as Danish nuclear missiles pierce the American sky and cleanse it of every single ounce of calorie.
It's never been done by any country at any time.
Yes, jokes aside, it is the beginning of the week, at least my streaming week. Pay your taxes, support the show, and let us hopefully gamba today. Today feels like a good day to gamba. Look, I'm even dressed to gamba. I'm dressed for the proverbial Twitch casino. Okay, we want to make those Noombas go up. We want to spin that shit. Let's see if we can.
Even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States
we're the hottest
is
country.
on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected.
Multipolarity on the horizon. It is, my friend. Honestly, sooner than I expected. We joked about JD Dawn, but it's not even JD Dawn. It's fucking accelerationist Dawn. Like, this isn't even doing JD Pawn shit, okay? This is just this is like, this is him being a comrade, being like, I must, you have these fucking idiots that join the CIA or the FBI, especially like in the States, like minority idiots that join those organizations and say, I will change them from the inside type of fucking cuckold bullshit, right? Well, maybe Trump is that, but actually knows what he's doing. He talked to his wife. His wife told him about the horrors of the balkanization of Yugoslavia and how it was indirectly done by the United States of America. And he said, we must destroy this this imperial parasite on our planet and species. I will speed up the contradictions of imperial decline. Oh, yeah. Melania's the one that's actually in charge. I've been telling you. He's a sleeper agent.
Did by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down, and you follow us up, and we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody, and say, I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good. But it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong.
A new child soldier.
And there's so much
subscriber.
potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have...
Thank you, Death in Box, if I missed you, and thank you, Trinrec, for the 11 months, my friend.
proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective...
Telling this, that imagine being a German here. Imagine being a German after the Americans basically forced them into abandoning their nuclear facilities and deindustrializing. Imagine being a German. Imagine believing that someone's your ally when they come tell you, yo, you should not have access to any motherfucking energy of your own, but you should buy it all from us. And then after you agree, they come and they tell you, actually, we want you to spend more money on weapons that you will buy from us. Increase it by 5% of your GDP right now. Do it right now. And then a couple of weeks later, they come and they tell you, you know how you have a very close ally? Denmark, we're going to take some of its territory. We're threatening you with violence, and we're going to take that territory. Why are you going to take that territory, sir?
A new child soldier, subscriber.
Because otherwise someone else is going to take it. I will protect your territory by taking your territory. Donald Trump, circa 2026, make it make sense. And then you have people like Macron, okay, the victim of pedophilia, literally a pedobaby, Macron, a pedobaby, calling up Trump and sissying himself out by saying, yo, man, we'll coup whoever you want us to coup. Just please, bro, please don't coup us.
Wonderful, a new child soldier. Subscriber.
That is the state of the world you find yourselves in, chat. That is the state you find yourselves in. And your politicians have spines so small that they're taking it, and 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 they're taking it. Do something about it. Do something about this hype train as well. Make it, and make it very engorged. Make it very large. Make it very beautiful. Okay? Want some veins on that train. Thank you, Red Bassist. Red Bassist? Red Bassist? Are you a racist or a bassist? Are you a racist or a bassist? Thank you for the gifting, and thank you, Drew Stu, baby. What's up? You all should get Supper from Soviet Georgia podcast on the program. We should, yeah. I need to check that out. Germany froze after the U.S. bombed the Nord Stream pipeline, so Germany went all in on solar. Now Germany has gone from 15 years behind the Paris climate goals to 10 years ahead of schedule. Yeah, I guess that's one positive. But they didn't do it intentionally. Having your energy industry sabotaged into being eco-friendly. I guess we should hope that should be China's foreign policy down the line. Green energy imperialism. We will bomb you unless you reach your targets for the Paris Climate Accords. Green imperialism. I would be its staunch supporter. We will shoot 30% of your population unless you go green. Eco-fascism, but woke as fuck. Install the solar panels or else. Hype train is on. Let's make that motherfucking thing true. Okay? True, motherfucking true. Now is your time. No joke. Now is your time, because we might not be able to hit the Gamba goal if we don't do it now. Last week, we hit a level 24 on a hype train. We hit level 24 on a hype train. But how the mighty fall, you know? You go from level 24 one day, on the next day, you're down to a 2. And if we hit level 6, I'm going to turn this into a drinking stream, because I plan on recording the program later, and after that, I got to go. I'm going to go out. That's why I'm dressed relatively formally. So, to your health. Where am I going to go? A fucking idiot decided to have a birthday on a Wednesday. And I was supposed to go in an hour and a half, but I'm not going to, because I will spend my time with you, and then I will go and do the recording as well. It's not my fault that he decided to do a fucking birthday on a Wednesday. So I'll just show up at the birthday around 10:30 or something.
Of money-losing windmills.
Thank you, Debo.
We're taking them down.
Thank you very
and
much,
not approving any. Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started.
Oh wow, that's a new one. I love this one. We helped them by firing them. We helped them by firing them. Also, he's admitting that the government gives very low wages to people who are servants of the state. Thank you, Comrade Trump. Thank you very much. Cynical Chris, what's up, baby? Thank you very much, Chris.
Of hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of raising taxes.
You just know somebody told him this. You just know somebody told him this. Sir, you shouldn't feel bad for firing millions upon millions of people. They're actually thanking you. Don't you know that they're thanking you? I heard many people are saying these things. They are saying you are great for firing them. Most are grateful to you. We've done surveys. I've talked to a guy. He was like, I love it. Level 2 hype train, save that shit. Come on.
Taxes are domestic.
Or don't. Do your thing. I'm never begging.
Producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage
We expanded NATO, Jack.
that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed
Wonderful. A
over
new child soldier.
270,000
Subscriber.
bureaucrats
Oh, the OG Oiler, the young executive, Sean Shanks, saving that hype train. Thank you, baby. Thank you for the first taxes of the day, developing world taxes. Thank you very much, Sean Shanks.
from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending.
Oh, it's definitely not, a canary in the coal mine or whatever. It's you going against your allies is definitely not a red flag of a decaying empire. You doing coups whenever you feel like it is definitely not a sign of a decaying empire. You admitting that you don't have enough money for your state apparatus, so you're firing millions of people, is definitely not a sign of a decaying empire. You cutting U.S. aid while, pretty much moving all the funds necessary for clandestine operations into another fund, but cutting everything that actually gave some sort of relief to places in crisis is definitely not a red flag of a decaying empire. You you not being able to push neither your ally, the Ukrainians, or even though I would argue that the Americans are not allies to the Ukrainians, but to each their own, and most Ukrainians that I talk to agree. You cannot convince your allies to stop a particular conflict. Neither can you convince who you want to see as an ally, the Russian Federation, to cease hostilities either. You are you pushed a live stream genocide without doing absolutely anything about it and lowering your status in the eyes of the developing world even more when it comes to what happened in Palestine. How many more red flags? How many more red flags? But sometimes we get green flags, like Polky. Thank you very much, Polky, for our first Western minority tax for the day. Do you want to be counted as a Westerner, Polky? I'll count you as a Westerner. First Western taxpayer. I guess not all of you are pieces of shit. Thank you, Polky. Polky, do you want to be in the Western count, or are you developing world? Never actually asked you, Polky. I should have asked you. It's very rude of me not to.
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
By $100 billion and slash the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that. Driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month they went up and up and up.
Next channel goal, IRL stream setup, upgrade audio equipment, upgrade computer screens. I got the computer screens and the audio equipment, and except for the glitch was shitty. You want an IRL setup, but I wear a mask. I don't know how I would do an IRL stream. I always wanted to do IRL streams because I do so much IRL shit. I'm the most grass-touching fucking Twitch streamer that has ever lived, but I don't, I gotta walk around with this fucking thing. You know what would have been cool? I checked if it's doable. It's not really doable yet. But you know those glasses that have a camera on them? The little glassy things? Well, I thought, I checked whether they can be connected to a live stream session. So I could just wear a COVID mask and wear that shit on my actual head. And we could go and do some... go live through some crazy adventures out in the Balkans, take you with me, but they don't, it can't sync with Twitch yet. It can only sync with Facebook. So unless you guys want to watch a Facebook IRL live stream. Thank you, Xi Jinping, for the 2 gifties. Thank you very much, my friend. The Meta glasses, yeah, or any sort of other alternative. That would be cool. I would love to POV stream, if that makes sense.
I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation, but instead I've cut, actually, till this point, 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it.
All the
In
regulations.
July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
In a normal country, this would get you shot. Like you saying, yo, we did like crazy tax cuts. To me, saying that should be the same as saying we fucked a lot of children. We fingered a lot of babies.
We also provided one.
How that does not provoke violent fervor in the hearts and minds of Yankistanians, of Burgerlandians, of the cholesterolians is mind-blowing.
100% expensing, that's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies.
You can get a DJI action camera mounted on your head. Ufigi, did you see how much I struggled setting up this camera? By the way, Ufigi, everybody say thank you to Ufigi for helping me out with the cam. Very kind of you, Ufigi. You beautiful motherfucker. But now we need a different. You gotta think of a wider scope for me, Ufigi. I need a wider scope, dude.
Expand and shift production to America.
Scope? Is it a scope? It's a. I'm very English language today, dude. What's up, Adrian? Thank you, F916253. The greatest name the chat has ever seen.
Okay.
Like we know wide angle. We need a wide angle. I want you guys seeing like this. Right? I want to be like that. This is too zoomed in. Scope means aspect ratio in film. Ufigi, shut the fuck up. You know how much I love you, but how about you shut the fuck up? You know exactly what I'm asking you, you nerdy little piece of shit. Okay? I am asking you about a different thingy, the thingy that you put on the camera so that it's wider, okay? So that it's wider. Okay? Motherfucker. Lens, thank you, Cuphead. You see how fucking amazing Cuphead is? Cuphead understands I'm a fucking imbecile. But she just comes and she tells me what I need to hear. Ufigi's like, ooh, I want to teach you something. I want to teach you shit. I am literally 54 years old. How the fuck am I supposed to learn new things? I'm 63. Have you ever seen anybody at the age of 63 learning anything new? I'm literally 68. I'm about to die any moment now. You want me to think about lenses? What's up, Barry? 30 seconds of the hype train. You're going to leave this old man who's about to die any moment now with a level 6, not even a level 7 or 8. I'm literally about to die. Am I about to die with a level 6? Oh, this might be the nastiest grift thing I've done in a while. Thank you, Abishi. Yo, taxes. Abishi always pays their taxes. Thank you very much. I'm literally ancient. I'm a vampire from the Masquerade games. I have died. I have died with a level 6. No. I have died before the collapse of the Western world hegemony. No. With a level 6. Oh, this is what I will be known for. The bit is funny when you then subscribe. Like, if you subscribe, then the bit would be funny. Because I would be like, oh, the subscription has brought me back to life. Thank you. You know, so do the bit. Okay, now I'm dead. Like, Oh, no, what could save me right now? Whoa. Could anything lift me back from the dead? I wonder what could lift me back from the dead in this metaphor. Oh. Juče necromancy. Juče subscripcji. Oh, Abishi! Oh, I am alive! Oh, that was the dumbest sketch I've ever done. I apologize to everyone, but I thank Abishi. Best acting I've seen in decades.
They
No, that probably goes to your girlfriend when you're in bed, You know. I'm sorry, Elkanisa. There was just a piece of shit thing to say. You're probably a lovely person. What the fuck? Why did I do? And the 2026 Oscar goes to all women that have to have sex with men. Imagine having sex with Gal Gadot. I am about to come, Yugo. I am about to orgasm. Well, sorry, can't relate. Yeah, you got to rub it in, don't you? Pun intended. I didn't even want to do it as a pun. Okay, I'm on my chud arc today. Today you get Yugo chud, okay? I just told a lesbian person that told me I can't relate about what we were talking about earlier. I looked at that comment and I told her, yeah, you gotta rub it in. God damn it, dude.
are so in love
Enough to fill the Nile.
with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41
I'm sorry, hot
years
sauce.
in the old days.
That was fucking
This
weird.
is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program. But you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. It was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%.
77%.
And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of...
Sir, we need you to talk about your relationship to the G7 countries. No.
But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill.
President Trump standing before the world and putting it on notice. He's not backing off at all in terms of his ambition to take control of Greenland, but says it will be through negotiation.
And just minutes ago, he wrapped up his much-anticipated speech at the World Economic Forum. He delivered his clearest statement
Fuck, I just lost $200.
yet that he will not use military force to seize the Danish territory, but reiterated his desire.
No, there's still a chance, right? There's still hope. I should long game my bet, right?
To take over Greenland. He also slammed the NATO military
Hope that Denmark gets invaded.
alliance and American allies, calling his demand for Greenland a, quote, small ask.
We never ask for anything.
He always does the opposite of what he says. Yeah, very good point.
And we never get...
Donald, you have to invade Greenland because I've put $200 on this, Donald, okay? You cannot embarrass me like this in front of myself.
anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking.
Oh, there is still hope. The terminology he is using here. Overwhelming force. That does not mean that he cannot do a quick in and out the way he did in Caracas. Okay, there is still hope. There is still hope for mass murder and many casualties and death and destruction and me winning my $200 back.
Looking for is a place called Greenland.
I'm being ironic. I didn't fucking bet on Greenland, but on Greenland getting invaded. But I did bet with you, chat. Low key, my prediction is that he will do some sort of intervention. I genuinely believe it, because they have to push it. They have to. My analysis on why is they have to push the envelope. They gotta see what the Europeans can take. Because long term they have to cannibalize the Europeans, right? So now the testing period began with the increase your NATO spending by 5%,
A new child soldier,
or we will fuck you up.
subscriber.
And then it intensified with the tariffs. Most European countries completely ate shit and liked it when it comes to the tariffs. All of them except Spain ate shit and liked it when it comes to the NATO increase. You know, they gave him a finger, then they gave him a second finger. Now he's asking for the third finger, Greenland. Okay? He's going to see, thank you, Barry, my friend. He's going to see whether they just give him the finger or he has to take the finger. And if he has to take the finger, well, that's a completely different... Not a completely different. That's a similar but different test that he will run on what he considers useful fools of empire at this point. There's no need. Like, why would you ever proactively reject alliances? You don't do that. Especially when you consider them your own serfs. You know, you milk them for as long as you can. Thank you, Dark Vader, for the Prime. That's a great name, man. I can't believe you secured that name, dude.
We're covering all the angles of this very important developing story. CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins is on the scene for us in Davos. CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson is in Greenland. Caitlin, let me start with you. The president spoke for more than an hour, and now he's been answering some questions.
You know, they fuck like crazy in Davos, probably, right? Especially with the journalists, dude. Those rooms must smell fucking insane, dude. The journos, the NGO people, the corporate heads. There's some they do shrooms and LSD, and they just lick each other, just fucking lick the shit out of each other.
What stood out to you from the speech, and what is he going to do next?
Imagine the after party, goddamn, dude.
Well, Wolf, and I'm standing.
Fucking Macron on 2 grams of coke, talking to the Prime Minister of England. Bro, I can't believe he fucking posted the texts, bro. Do a line, bro. You're gonna relax. No, I am kid starver, not coke haver. Prime time to be a sex worker, right? Imagine the NDAs.
Right outside the room where the president just spoke. These guests that are coming out behind me are people who were just listening to the president's speech here at Davos as he was addressing those at the Congress Center. So we'll see if there's anyone notable inside this group that is coming out to get their reaction to what they made of what President Trump had to say. But I think he kind of set the tone, Wolf, as soon as he got on stage, where he greeted not only his friends, but his enemies, and then moments later cut to the heart of something that has roiled this entire conference here in Davos, which were the president's comments yesterday when it came to Greenland. The president said today that he wants to immediately start negotiations to seek the U.S. acquisition of Greenland, but he also made his clearest statements yet, Wolf, saying that the United States, he does not plan to take Greenland using military force to do so. Now, of course, that is something that's been raised. The president was saying that if the United States wanted to, they could, and he also invoked the relationship.
He said that they will not invade, but he did not say that they will not do military action. That is how I read what he said.
Between Denmark and the United States in the 1940s, amid World War II.
It's a similar thing that Putin does all the time. He's like, we are just doing a special military operation. If we actually went to war in Ukraine, we would eat you alive, blah, blah, blah.
When the United States was putting bases on Greenland as Denmark was occupied by the Nazis. And the president was basically citing that as a reason why he believes the United States has rights to Greenland, as he was making the case for why the United States should have it. I'll tell you, Wolf, there was a little bit of laughter in the room at some point as the president's remarks first got underway. That all changed, though, after he started to delve into the Greenland territory. Then he also ripped NATO and said that the United States has only used NATO to protect European countries from the Soviet Union, now from Russia. He also was highly critical of one of the United States' top allies, Canada, criticizing the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, for his speech that he gave, basically saying that they need to make themselves independent from the United States. He said that Canada only has its lives because of the United States. And so, obviously, a lot of loaded remarks there from President Trump as he was addressing these world leaders who were gathered here and a lot of the policymakers who were here, and the president naming some of them specifically there, Wolf.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of speeches from American presidents at this World Economic Forum in Davos. I've never heard an American president specifically blast individual NATO allied leaders by name. Emmanuel Macron of France, for example, Mark Carney of Canada, among others. He really went off against them, and he also went off at NATO, saying NATO has never really done anything for the United States. The United States has always been treated unfairly by NATO.
Imagine using the entire European continent, at least the western part of it, as a border zone against your enemies, where you do clandestine operations, terrorist attacks, complete manipulation of domestic democratic order. I'm talking throughout the entirety of the Cold War. The Americans made Europe into its potential first front of nuclear annihilation in the worst case scenario, or in the best case scenario, the new front on which boots on the ground might actually have to fight the Soviets. Half a century of Europeans accepting this particular deal, that they will put their bodies on the line to defeat this evil communist enemy, that they will assassinate, imprison, kill, torture, and SA their own communists and socialists domestically, that they will embrace the American style of Red Scare domestically in Europe. Putting their people's lives, their sovereignty, as a shield against the evil onslaught of the USSR. And then speed up 60, 70 years, and you're sitting there listening to the President of the United States say that Europe has done nothing for NATO, just vice versa. It's like a general telling grunts that just experienced heavy combat that they've never done anything for him, even though he sits on a white horse and just screams charge. And that pretty much constitutes the entirety of his military career. The embarrassment every European should feel. The betrayal every European should feel. I would love to be proved wrong, but it appears that the Europeans have forgotten this very pride that they love to parade around when they're talking about Arabs and Asians and Muslims and Slavs, etc., etc. You love being proud about your beautiful garden against the jungle of the East. Well, what about the jungle of the West? Huh? What about the jungle of the West, my dear European compatriots? Where is that pride now? Where is Western culture now? Where is white pride? Yes, I'll say it now, motherfucker. The most intermixed country on planet Earth, the United States of America, is pissing down your Aryan throats and you gargle. That's the only thing you do. You gargle. And sometimes even ask for more. The literal race mixers are your bosses. And you applaud in the ADF, in British Reform, in whatever the fucking name the far-right party in France under that criminal lady was. Where's your white power, bro? Where's your Europe for Europeans? Europe for Europeans. You haven't had Europe for Europeans for 70 years. American lapdogs. But at least you were getting something in return. So while we could criticize it on a moral basis, on an ethical basis, on an anti-imperialist basis, we saw it as a transactional relationship. America says jump, you get a treat. Now you no longer receive treats. Why the fuck are you still jumping? Why the fuck are you still jumping? I don't know. Europe for Europeans. How about you take that energy that you have when you shoot fucking Syrian children over in Greece and Italy that are trying to get over here on boats and make something out of their lives, and you direct it at a country that basically turned yours into McDonald's, H&M, and fucking Deloitte. Patriots. Patriots. Fucking funny.
And then he said Denmark cannot really ensure the security of Greenland because it simply can't. He was very critical of all these NATO allies. I've never heard a president speak at Davos along those kinds of lines. It was pretty significant, Pamela.
And it was. And of course, he didn't mention the fact that the only time Article 5 was invoked was after 9/11 and the war on terror. And
reminder, we have hit the first hour. We have hit the first hour of Davos. To subscribe to the show, look, I put on my Davos clothing for you and so on. Support the show. Get us closer to potentially doing beautiful, beautiful gamba. Pay your taxes, especially if you're a Westerner. So you can show us that there's some good Westerners out there. Exclamation point tax if you want to see the rules. Or if you're from the developing world. By the way, my Twitch agent told me that for the size of our show, we are the most international show he's ever seen. He says that I have subscribers from over 20 different countries. I'm not kidding. I'm very serious. I can show you a screenshot at some point. Just got to remove my email and stuff. So I call upon the developing world chatters to send me their beautiful taxes, which will show the Western chatters that it is actually you guys that uphold not half, but the entirety of the sky of this stream. That's how you invest in this show. You can see that I reinvest constantly, not only in the show, but in other projects. Now we have a producer that's taking 10% of everything that we make here, and so on. We have no ads. We have no sponsors. We never will have ads or sponsors unless it's something hyper ironic for a sponsorship or whatever. And we're also the only place on Twitch that can actually give you a degenerate, ethical, socialist gambling experience. All of that together, I believe, should be a very decent pitch for supporting the show. Subscribing yourself, oiling me up, paying your taxes, or whatever other shape or form you'd like. And if you're thinking, okay, but like, what kind of reinvestment have you done to the show? Well, look at this. Look at this. Look. Ooh. Incredible. Technologia. And not only that, I'm starting a new, very large project. It's going to, I cannot say what it is. It's going to be with two creators that you probably know, but that I have not worked with before. It will be a big surprise. Will be pretty. I think it will work out really well. That requires investment, and obviously the deprogram and many other stuff that we do. So yeah, don't look at it. Look at it as an investment, I guess. Feel like a capitalist. Pat yourself on the back. Technologia. I am now big technologia. Better than the slur tier list. It was not a slur tier list. The fuck are you? Oh Lord. Yeah, YouTube I will do from time to time, but YouTube is a dog shit platform, and I don't want to waste my time on it, to be perfectly honest. It is no longer for the type of agitation I want to do. It no longer seems like a practical medium for political education for me. It motivates algorithmic clout chasing and demotivates originality or like properly educational content. So I see too many contradictions for long-term sustainability over on YouTube. I think we should make long-form shows, very long-form shows. Call it podcasts or articles or RSS feeds, stuff like that, or streams where the experience is one-on-one.
Wonderful, a new child
Although it's 1 on
soldier,
500,
subscriber.
during the weekends 1 on 1,000, but it's still relatively one-on-one. I think it's better. At least that is my pitch for my career trajectory. Tell me if you agree or disagree, genuinely. Thank you, J-Romag, for the 6 months. I will count that as a tax. You paid 6 months immediately with your first one. I'm counting that as a tax. Thank you for the developing world tax. Motherfucker said, I ain't giving 6 gift subs to nobody. I'm giving myself 6 subs. Kinda based, I gotta say. Oh shit, but it wasn't a Western tax. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I can't count you as Western tax. Developing world tax. I can't choose developing world tax. Westerners are required to give more. Anyways, let's continue.
Many of these countries, including Denmark, sent
Multi-month subs should always be taxes. Yeah, when they're 10.
their soldiers in to fight, right? To fight on
That's
behalf
the most Western way to pay your taxes, isn't it?
of the American states in the war on terror in places like Afghanistan. In fact, Denmark is one of the highest per capita losses of soldiers.
The video with Walmart where you said all the slurs was awesome. Okay, now you're just baiting me. It's good. I am getting very triggered, but
In that war compared to other countries. So that context was missing when he said that NATO has never done anything for
why are all the flags at half-mast? Did like a cop die or something?
the United States. I want to bring in our Nick Robertson and hear what you thought about this speech and what are you hearing there on the ground in Greenland about it?
Yeah, there's a lot to break down in there, isn't there? Because on the one hand, is saying to the people of Greenland, I'm not going to invade you and take you by force. And I've talked to people here and they say, okay, that's something, but can we really trust this US president? I think trust is low there. But he's still saying a thing that all the people of Greenland, or the vast, vast majority, are absolutely opposed to. He still wants to take control of Greenland immediately.
You know what a principled response to him saying he is not going to take it by force? You know what a principled response to that should be? It should be, dear Mr. President, there is no other way you are ever receiving our territory. When he says that he's not going to do it by force, he considers you so weak that he believes that he can take it without using force. It is not something that should make you feel relieved. It is something that should make you reconsider the people you have in government in Denmark and in the European Union as a whole.
Negotiations is what he's talking about. People here don't want that, so they're still living with a very real threat of something happening that is against their wishes. And then the other thing that people have told me here is, well, how much are the Europeans going to back us up? And this has sort of been a background concern that had been sort of put to one side, if you will, because the support coming from Europe had been very, very strong. But people here have listened, as we all have, to the president berate Europe as a whole, that it's going backwards, that it can't be anything without the United States, essentially saying, Europe, you really are going to have to roll with me on this. Berating, as we've been saying, individual leaders, Emmanuel Macron. Macron, by the way, who has asked for NATO to step up its military training here around Greenland, involving the warship behind me here, as part of a signal and a show of how NATO can provide security around Greenland, that it doesn't have to be owned by President Trump to do that. So this really sort of gives people here in Greenland cause for concern, because their strongest allies are being berated and belittled by President Trump. And that says to them, well, are they going to stand up against that? And so
All right,
far,
Nick,
we
hold on for a second.
will.
President Trump is answering some questions from the news media there. I want to listen in.
The news media.
Well, we have seen the numbers, we've seen the records, and it is taking place.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
That's it. That's it.
If they don't do it, you'll never have international security.
All right, so there you see the president. He's walking away.
I think Air Force One made a U-turn so they can pick some McRibs before heading to Europe. Is that why the flags were the half-mast? McDonald's is 50% off or some shit? Is that how Americans signal it to each other?
Away from where he was speaking for well more than an hour at this Davos Economic Forum in Switzerland. Now he's moving on. Caitlin Collins, we heard from her. Nick Robertson. Christian Amanpour is with us as well. Our chief
my favorite fucking, come on, old lady, let's go.
anchor. Christian, what was the most notable thing that you heard?
The Queen of Vanilla.
Speech by the president.
Well, Wolf,
Europe's biggest threat is China. Lady, let's go.
you know, this was an hour and 12 minutes just about of the usual sort of Trumpian discourse, on script, off script, talking about all.
Did Trump fold? No, he didn't. Or did he get convinced that he already owns Greenland and can just build the bases if he wants? No, he just believes that he can get it without using force because he thinks that the Europeans are that weak. And also he was probably consulted on with greater intensity about the, problematic direction NATO can take in case he actually uses violent force. The bet there is long-term that they will at some point use violent force against Europeans as well. The bet when it comes to Europe for the United States of America and, late stage empire decline is to balkanize it as much as possible. I'm not saying like cut Germany up in 20 countries or whatever, but destabilize the, federal part of the European Union and cut up the Europeans amongst those who will stand by the Americans no matter what, and those who will then form an alternative group. I'm talking this is going to be developing in the next 20 to 30 years. There is less booty of empire to be given out to all the Europeans, but certain European countries can be motivated to stay in this particular type of relationship because for a longer period of time than the others, they will be able to get some booty. Booty. Okay. Oh, it's always about the booty. But no joke. That is how I see it. That is why I unironically believe that the United States of America very actively invests financially. We like to call it APAC here, not APAC, but APAC, like the way Israel influences American politics. America influences European politics, but times 100,000, right? I genuinely think that the Americans heavily invest in Euroscepticism, heavily invest in European ideas of the nation state being far and above the idea of European federalism, etc., etc., etc. They want European federalism to be as dead as possible in the water, and then they want to segment European states between allies and no longer useful puppets that they will then cannibalize. They will cannibalize those who remain allies as well, but they will postpone the cannibalization down the line. This is necessary because this is unavoidable unless the United States of America somehow reestablishes itself as the only hegemon, and pretty much it would need to somehow move back the clock on the industrialization, economic development, sovereignty of like 90% of the developing world. Because when it comes to empire, I'm not talking domestic American economics, but obviously it's influenced by imperialism. The United States cannot extract as much value from the rest of the world, quite literally, because the rest of the world has thankfully developed to economic stages in which, sure, exploitation very much so happens, but it does not happen in an increasing fashion. There is no line go up on imperial exploitation because more and more countries are waking up to the fact that unless they actually process their own resources, unless they turn their own societies into consumer societies, not only societies in which labor is outsourced, etc., they lower the amount of money that can be siphoned out. This is a contradiction, okay? The contradiction of siphoning cash outside of these countries has led to a synthesis in which they developed slowly, not efficiently enough, but still developed to a point in which they cannot be conned at levels they were conned at before. And that would be normal, and that would be fine if we lived in a normal system. But America sustains itself on eternal growth, which it can no longer receive. So it will proceed to both privatize and commodify everything it has domestically. Okay. You will get, as we like to say, cyberpunk without any of the cool shit domestically. And when it comes to foreign policy, because it can no longer sustain itself on pieces of the developing world, it will need to go and feast somewhere else. And it will start feasting both inside of its own house, its ICE and so on, but also inside of the houses or apartment blocks, to be more European, of its former allies or current allies, because they, I guess, love being feasted on, the Europeans. You understand the relationship? It's simple at the end of the day. And this isn't even a Marxian analysis. This is like what you get taught in political science at school that I did. Obviously, intertwined with, imperialism coming back home. For example, realists in political theory don't really talk about that because it's all about fucking foreign policy, right? That, exists outside of the borders of the domestic Lebensraum. Oh, what's up, Freda? Yo, I didn't see you there, my baby. Everybody say hi to Freda. Everybody go and follow Freda right now. Freda's fucking insanely based over on YouTube, okay? One of the rare YouTubers I actually respect. And he also streams on here. Really, really fun gaming streams. Like, no joke. Really, 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 really fun gaming streams. Can we get a shout out to Freda? Thank you very much Everybody go follow. You will not have made a mistake. Trust me. Yo, did you see Adam Toze had a panel at Davos with the U.S. Secretary of Commerce and looked like he wanted to shoot himself whenever the American guy was talking? No, please link. Do please have a link, King. Please link. Thank you. Or I can just, fucking search it. Let's hear this fucking lady. I love this lady so much. She's the American Europe understander. The American Europe understander has logged on.
All sorts of different things, but clearly, as we all know, the biggest sigh of relief.
1 hour 30 minutes. I don't want to do the fucking subscribe. Ooh, it's great to subscribe. I would be grateful. I would be, no joke. Subscribe to the show. Reminder, no ads, stuff. Press button, pay taxes.
Would have come after he made that statement that you've all read out, that I don't want to use force, I don't have to use force, I won't use force. So the immediate threat of a blue on blue, in my words, war in Europe, i.e. NATO against NATO over Greenland, appears to have been put aside for the moment by President Trump. Now, the next thing is there going to be an economic war, because when he says, I want to start discussions with all our partners immediately on the acquisition of Greenland, that is a sort of a follow-up or a preamble to what he's already done, which is threatened economic tariffs on Britain and other European nations that doesn't want to go into this business of trying to offer Trump the issue of Greenland. So that he didn't mention tariffs in this speech. So is there going to be some kind of economic punishment towards those Europeans if they don't come up with the goods? And for his part, the goods mean giving us...
Yes, there will be. Yes, there will be. He will not give up on this. I am putting my entire career on the line. He will not give up on this. Will he be successful in acquiring it? I'm not saying that he will be. I'm not saying that he won't be. But I'm putting all my money on him, very much so dedicating a very large chunk of his political project on this particular thing, okay? We'll be talking about this for a while to come. Or not, if the Americans just give in.
Control of Greenland. You know, he distorted history a bit when he talked about owning Greenland back in the Second World War. It wasn't owning Greenland. It's very true that the Americans stepped up their military presence there and at the height of the Cold War. But it was always in treaty with Denmark, and that sort of, went its way when the Cold War ended. So yes, there are security issues.
Christian,
the Europeans want
Christian,
to make
hold
sure
on for a second. I
discussion.
hate to interrupt, but Caitlin Collins got some news. Caitlin, you got a guest.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for standing, obviously, outside the room. And I would love to know what you thought of the president's speech, given you are obviously a very prominent U.S. Policymaker. And what did you make of hearing it from the U.S. perspective, given so many of the European friends that are in the room?
Shut the fuck up.